One evening, beneath the fading sun, the community gathered. Men, women, and children sat together, their faces carved by hardship. The air was heavy. Their patience had run out. Are we to suffer forever? Must our children inherit this suffering? A villager asked. And so, a question arose. If the government had ignored them for so long, why not choose one of their own? A voice, a fighter, someone who could speak for them. The young men led the charge. They confronted political figures from the city, men in fine suits who visited only during election season. With fire in their eyes, they demanded, we want our own representative, not an outsider, one of us. The politicians, cornered by the people's anger, offered a candidate, Kola. Kola was not a stranger. He grew up in the same dusty streets. He drank from the same muddy water. And for that reason, some cheered, others doubted. But in the end, after long debates and heated arguments in the square, the community gave their trust to Kola. They celebrated him. He was their hope, their chance to finally have a seat at the table, the man who would carry their cries into the halls of power. But 2 years later, that hope had turned to betrayal. The roads were still broken, power still dead, the water still poisoned. When villagers dared to question Kola, he no longer stood as their brother. He sat on a throne of privilege, surrounded not by the poor, but by wealthy strangers from the capital. One brave man confronted him at his compound, but Kola did not answer with compassion. He laughed and waved his hand. His bodyguard, Vera, once a daughter of the village, now dressed in a police uniform, shoved the man out. The community's hope had become their shame. The gates of Kola's mansion remained closed. Vera stood as a wall, turning away those she once called brothers. Every plea, every knock, every cry for help was met with silence. And so, abandoned, the community decided to take its destiny into its own hand. The youths gathered, no longer willing to wait for government, no longer willing to bow to betrayal. They formed a vigilante group, a force meant to defend their people, to give protection where government had failed. Among them rose a young man named OGB, brave, bold, determined. He went to Kola, asking for a government permit to make their vigilante work official. Kola smiled, promised to help, but his eyes told another story. Reluctant, dismissive, it was clear that Kola's loyalty was no longer to his people. The vigilante group pressed forward anyway. At first, the people cheered them. They patrolled the street, chased away petty thieves, and promised safety. But soon, doubts began to grow. The community pastor spoke up. Brothers, sisters, ask yourselves, if the government does not pay them, then who does? If the vigilantes fight without food, without salary, who will feed their hunger? The crowd grew uneasy. Whispers spread. Were these vigilantes protectors or pawns for criminals? Inside the vigilante group, cracks began to show. Some members wanted to stay true to their mission. Others were tempted by offers from shadowy figures in the city. Money, weapons, influence. The line between protector and predator grew thinner. With every passing day, the pastor's warning echoed in their ears. The villagers watched with fear. The same hands they once trusted to guard them now looked ready to destroy them. The community, desperate for a voice, had given its trust first to Kola and been betrayed, then to the vigilantes and been betrayed again. Their cries for justice had become cries of sorrow, and the truth remains. In the fight for survival, desperation can turn saviors into oppressors, and the voice of the people can be silenced not by outsiders, but by their very own.